Hey there, self-care warriors. Welcome back to Self-Care Haven. Today I'm going to make a video about an article that I wrote about the female sociopath. So let's get started. This article was originally published on Psych Central and it's called 6 Stark Traits of the Female Sociopath. Female sociopaths, psychopaths, and narcissists are dangerous precisely because they fly under the radar. Although there is an ongoing debate about the definition of psychopath and sociopath versus narcissist, it's safe to say that all types exhibit the following traits: a callous lack of empathy, a tendency to manipulate and con others for their own gain, a sense of egocentrism and excessive entitlement, along with blatant disregard for the rights, needs, and feelings of others. Sociopaths and narcissists on the high end of the spectrum take it one step further. Those who meet the criteria for the dark triad, narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism, often lack remorse for their destructive actions. They use cognitive empathy to assess their target's vulnerabilities, but they lack the affective empathy to truly care about the welfare of others. So they will use cognitive empathy in the fact that they zoom into your weaknesses, they assess your vulnerabilities, they figure out what makes you tick, and they can put themselves in your shoes cognitively in order to better manipulate you. But because they lack that affective empathy, they're unable to actually place themselves emotionally and psychologically in your shoes in order to actually experience the pain that you might be feeling as a result of their actions. However, they do know that you are in pain and they take a sadistic pleasure in it. These types are often sadistic in provoking others and deceiving others, feeling pleasure at the sight of one's pain and experiencing duping pleasure. Studies show that these toxic types experience positive feelings when seeing sad faces. So there was actually a study done where narcissists were shown to have positive emotions when seeing sad faces of all things. Now, I don't know about you, but that seems pretty sadistic. The reality of their malice becomes darker when we realize and consider that females are socialized by society to be more covertly aggressive. As a result, they are more likely to bully others through underhanded methods. This is the relational regression that I've talked about in many videos. Female bullies have been shown to engage in a lot of relational aggression in terms of socially excluding the victims, gossiping about people, ruining someone's reputation. That's the underhanded way in which they get ahead. As a result, they're more likely to bully others through relational aggression, abuse through sabotage of someone's social relationships and reputation, all while mastering the art of a sweet exterior. Here are 6 signs you are dealing with a female sociopath or narcissist on the high end of the spectrum. Number 1, they mirror and love bomb you in order to get information. When a female sociopath first meets you, they're on a mission to collect as much information about you as possible. The female sociopath is assessing whether you'd make a good target. As her unsuspecting victim, she zooms in on you with an excessive amount of attention and adoration. Her warm and nurturing facade helps to facilitate her covert manipulations. On the outside, she is friendly and inviting, but within she is vindictive, ruthless, and cunning. Yet in the beginning, it'll appear as if you guys have so much in common. She'll play to your sympathy and pity by pretending that she has similar life experiences as you. She'll claim that she has similar interests, hobbies, passions, life goals, and values. Little do you know, this is a cold and calculating gesture used to find out as much as possible about your strengths and weaknesses, so she can exploit both to her advantage. Under her hawk-like gaze, the female sociopath mirrors you to win your trust and to make you disclose personal information that she plans to use against you as ammunition. In the initial stage, she will build for you a beautiful pedestal so that you're tempted to buy into her con. Once you've sufficiently invested in her false mask, she has no problem using you and your resources for her own gain. Whether it's sex, money, attention, a place to live, status, reputation, fame, or even just the duping delight of one-upping someone, it's all about power with the female sociopath. Sign number 2, they are superficially charming and demonstrate exaggerated speech or gestures which lack authenticity. Much like a male sociopath, a female sociopath's projected kindness rarely meets her eyes. She is reptilian in her demeanor, and you might notice a flash of her envy, anger, or greed from time to time when the mask slips. Otherwise, she is eerily calm and lacks a startle response, even in situations that warrant fear or anxiety. So research has shown that psychopaths lack this startle response. And if you remember from my video on covert sociopaths and psychopaths, I talk about how they're prone to boredom and they need high levels of stimulation, which is why they're so prone to engaging in dangerous and risky behaviors, even life-threatening behaviors, because they get a thrill out of it. They don't have that startle response. They don't have that kind of same fear and anxiety that we have towards these types of activities, towards these types of high-risk, dangerous activity. She might exaggerate her speech patterns, expressing more enthusiasm and joy than she actually feels. She may slip up and into a condescending and contemptuous tone of voice, which reveals her true intentions from time to time. Yet her charm, while superficial and glib, can be just as convincing, if not more, than a male sociopath's. This is because as a society, we are conditioned to see females as the gentler sex, incapable of violence. Yet the violence a female sociopath can inflict can be just as psychologically destructive and dangerous as her male counterpart. Sign number 3, they sabotage you covertly. The aggression of a female sociopath is unprecedented, yet it is carefully hidden beneath multiple layers of carefully constructed traits that one can easily mistake for sincerity. Remember that narcissists and sociopaths are chameleons, adapting to social situations based on what they suspect will bode well for them and will best suit their hunt for victims. So, female sociopaths present a very alluring and charitable image, especially to those who can benefit them. However, to those they have no use for, or those who evoke their narcissistic rage and envy, which I talked about a lot in my video about female narcissists a few years ago. They have a lot of envy, especially towards female competition who, they might be threatened by in terms of looks, talent, success, accomplishments, maybe, their love life, their social life, their reputation or social status, what have you. Anything that they can covet and envy, the female sociopath and narcissist is very envious of others, especially those who are female, because female narcissists also have that kind of internalized misogyny. Male narcissists have misogyny, but female narcissists also exhibit misogyny. They've internalized that misogyny from society, and they view other females as their competition. You see this not only with female friends, but also narcissistic mothers. They will actually compete with their offspring. They will compete with their daughters in terms of their youth and sexual prowess and looks. It's really sickening, but that's how they work in the context of many different types of relationships. However, to those they have no use for, or those who evoke their narcissistic rage or envy, they reveal more of their true selves. Much of the female sociopath's manipulation is channeled through relational aggression, which involves damaging someone's social relationships or reputation to destroy one's sense of self. In the realm of female friendships, female narcissists especially are always looking to protect themselves against outside threats that may threaten to overtake their queen bee status in the cliques that they create. That is why they underhandedly bully their chosen victims, usually those they perceive to have something they don't, or to have more of, by excluding these people from social groups, pitting people against them, accusing them of things they did not do, spreading rumors or gossip, tarnishing their reputation, slandering or smearing them, and also creating rivalries among these people. That way, their victims are unable to gain validation or support for the abuse that they're experiencing. So a female sociopath will target you in a clique and a group, and once they figure out that you threaten them in some way, they will scapegoat you. They will first give you a lot of starry-eyed admiration, of course, to trick you into trusting them, but then after your pedestal has been built, you'll soon be taken off of it. They will slander you to anyone who is willing to listen. They will create these imaginary rivalries, pitting people against one another, saying things like, oh, this person doesn't like you, while telling that person that you don't like them. They will create these conflicts among the members of their group, and just like a cult leader, this kind of dissent and division allows them to have complete power and control over their group. They remain the queen bee while creating these imaginary rivalries and creating the sense of competition among the group members. This can also happen within a harem, right? A female narcissist or sociopath may have a primary partner, but they will have these harem members competing for their attention and their love and their adoration. Sign number 4, they demonstrate little to no remorse in harming others to get what they want, and they exhibit internalized misogyny. Whoever is in a female narcissist or sociopath's way will pay dearly, even the ones who pose the slightest of threats. The female sociopath harbors a sense of entitlement to everything and everyone and anything. They are especially threatened by other women who possess what they cannot. Female narcissists and sociopaths exhibit that internalized misogyny. They despise other women getting ahead or posing a threat to their fragile and grandiose ego. To see another woman achieving in a way that she is unable to do or get the attention she feels she is entitled to is a threat to her very sense of self and her excessive sense of entitlement. That is why the female sociopath is notorious for belittling her more successful or attractive female friends or popular female friends, covertly sabotaging and bullying those she is jealous of, and having affairs with men who are already in committed relationships with their friends nonetheless. Her life motto is, it's all about me, and if it isn't, I must make it so. So female narcissists and sociopaths are not only cheating on their partners, they're also cheating with people who are already in committed relationships. They enjoy taking away that committed person from that relationship. And of course, it takes two to tango when it comes to infidelity. So I'm not trying to displace the blame only on the female narcissist and sociopath, because the other person who's cheating is just as much in the wrong. However, female narcissists and sociopaths will deliberately seduce the people who are committed, who are already in committed relationships. They will deliberately target these folk because it's a power play for them. It's a game for them, and they sadistically enjoy it, and they enjoy breaking up relationships. They enjoy coming in between people. They enjoy creating these rivalries. They enjoy creating this competition, because to them it's all about them, and if it isn't, then they have to make it so. Sign number 5, they are sadistic and enjoy inflicting pain. Female sociopaths and narcissists enjoy seeing people squirm just for the hell of it. There is nothing they love more than to take down an innocent, good-natured person who is naive enough to believe in them. That's why they make lofty, false promises they fail to carry through with just to delight in another person's sense of disappointment and depletion. That's why they deprive their most threatening victims of attention and affection just to lather other more loyal cronies with excessive praise. So in female friendships, what you'll often find is that the female sociopath and narcissist will reward you and punish you based on how obedient and how loyal you are to them. And they will make sure that if you ever question their judgment, or if you ever threaten their excessive sense of superiority or entitlement in any way, if you are a perceived threat, what they will do is that they will lather on this praise to other harem members in front of you to make you feel like you lost out, to make you feel like you're the defective one, to make you feel like you're the scapegoat. That's why they set up scenarios where they know that their victims are bound to fail. That's why they manufacture chaos out of thin air to create a blend of crazy making and love bombing that leaves onlookers confused, on edge, and constantly walking on eggshells. Now, I've mentioned relationships and female friendships. I do also want to mention not only the fact that narcissistic mothers exist, but also these types of sociopaths and narcissists can also exist in the workplace as well. So for those of you who are watching who have experienced workplace hostility or covert aggression or bullying, and you've experienced this type of underhanded manipulation by a narcissistic female or a sociopathic female who was a coworker or a boss, these behaviors can take place in the workplace as well. They can create these triangles among other staff members. They can scapegoat the person that they're threatened by, and they can basically slander and try to blame shift and make this chosen victim basically the person who they blame everything on when they make mistakes, or they just create these imaginary problems so they can make that victim who seems threatening to them in any way, maybe that victim is more popular, has more credentials, is more intelligent, more beautiful, whatever. Maybe they're just more something, you know, maybe it's, you know, maybe they're more genuine, and that just of course sets off the female sociopath, because the female sociopath doesn't like to be reminded of the fact that they, this victim has something that they will never have, which is authenticity and the ability to wear their true self and the ability to be well liked for who they truly are rather than who they pretend to be. And so anything could threaten the female sociopath in a workplace, and they can try to diminish you as a result of that. Sign number 6, they thrive off of male attention or female attention depending on their sexual orientation, whatever sex they're attracted to. Female sociopaths and narcissists enjoy being the center of attention because it gives them the power from a harem of which they can derive endless amounts of narcissistic supply in the form of praise, sex, and resources. Sociopaths enjoy this because it gives them a power trip, right? So narcissists are feeding off that attention and validation. Sociopaths are more likely to feed off the power and control. They don't need as much validation as narcissists do, but they do enjoy the sense of power that attention and validation gives them. Sociopaths enjoy this because it gives them a power trip, the ability to control others at a whim and play everyone like puppets. And narcissists enjoy it because it feeds their inflated ego and gives them that validation they crave. Female predators are not opposed to using their bodies to get what they want. They have no qualms about using their appearance, their sexuality to climb the corporate ladder, to take advantage of a doting boyfriend, or to seduce a stranger, so long as it benefits them. Sociopaths and psychopaths live minute to minute, right? They don't live like we do. We think about the long-term consequences of our behavior. They're always thinking in the short term. When can I get this supply? How can I get this supply? Will I feel good after I get this supply? It's not, people to them are objects to be used at will. It's almost like we're dolls in their living dollhouse, and they're just playing with us all the time, and they're just trying to get a rise out of us and provoke us. They don't see us as human beings, and so because they don't know what it's like to be human, so they just consider everyone else to be objects in their sick little game. They get off on the power and control, and their thirst for new victims is insatiable. They are notorious for having extramarital affairs, engaging in numerous flirtations and indiscretions, and constantly surrounding themselves with admirers, everything from exes to potential replacements. They can lie, manipulate, and con their way into people's hearts and their lives, pulling the wool over your eyes quite easily when they pursue their own agenda. Yet once they're done with you and you are no longer useful, they will rarely give you the same amount of attention, respect, or affection that you've grown accustomed to. They will discard you without blinking twice. To them, you are merely an object to suit their purposes, nothing more. The big picture. If you have encountered a female malignant narcissist or sociopath, take heart in the fact that their behavior is not your fault. Their toxic behavior is not your fault. Many have been bamboozled by these toxic types because of how convincing and conniving and cunning they are. Rather than blaming yourself, examine the ways in which you've been manipulated to resolve that cognitive dissonance that might arise. You may still be reeling from the discrepancy between their true self and their false self. You may also be experiencing some cognitive dissonance from the societal stereotypes of what it means to be a woman, because a lot of us think of women as being more gentler, nurturing, right? But if you've ever experienced a narcissistic mother, a narcissistic female friend, or a narcissistic female as a partner, or a narcissistic coworker or a narcissistic boss who happens to be female, you'll realize that their violence may be more underhanded, still extremely harmful and impactful to the psyche of the survivor. It's common for survivors of sociopaths to doubt themselves and their experiences, regardless of the gender of their perpetrator. It's important to close that gap by documenting what you've experienced, seeking validating professional support from a trauma-informed professional who understands personality disorders, and engaging in self-care healing modalities which will enable you to rise above their malice and move forward into a future without their toxicity. So whether you're dealing with a female sociopath or narcissist or a male sociopath or narcissist, it's important to remember that these perpetrators thrive on their ability to control us. They thrive on the idea that they can provoke us, that they can try to sabotage us. But what's very powerful is when a survivor is able to move forward. And when they move forward and become more successful than their perpetrators, that's really the success story. That's the true revenge and the karma that these types receive. They can't stand their victims moving forward. They can't stand their victims succeeding. They can't stand their victims making use of their talents and the attributes and the skill sets that they were so threatened by. And they can't stand their victims becoming independent of them. So the best revenge and karma that a narcissist or sociopath or psychopath can receive, regardless of who they are, what gender they are, what background they are, what context it's in, is to feel the weight of your success. It's to feel the weight of you moving forward. It's to feel the weight of your indifference. It's to feel the weight of your ability to channel what they've done to you into the greatest victories of your life. So I hope this video has helped you. I hope this video has inspired you. If you want to read the full article that I just read out loud below, I will leave a link in the description box below. I hope to talk to you guys soon, and until next time, take care. Be sure to check out my #1 best-selling book, Becoming the Narcissist Nightmare: How to Devalue and Discard the Narcissist while Supplying Yourself, a #1 bestseller in personality disorder.